What's going on, everybody? It's Alg857,
The 23rd Stallion.
Sticks in the building.
And your boy, Big Choco. What up?
and we have another edition of the Level 857 Video Game Podcast here tonight.
That's right.
But before we get to the main event here, the main interview that you've all been waiting for, we're going to go ahead and talk about where you can listen to our podcast, which is from Radio Public. You can hear us on all the streaming services, but Radio Public is where you want to go to if you want to show the most support. And also, if we hit 500 subscribers or followers on any of our social media, make sure to do so, because if we hit that milestone, we're going to do the hot sauce challenge.
That's right.
Yeah, we're going to
Bases
suffer.
off.
We're going to suffer.
It's going to hurt.
We're going to suffer. But without further ado, I'm going to let Sticks go ahead and do the introduction here for our special guest.
All right, and hailing from Canada, current host of EP Daily, formerly Electric Playground. You can see him every day on the Electric Playground Network on YouTube. One of the most well-respected video game journalists, the one, the only, Victor Lucas.
Hello!
Here he is.
Hello, Level 857. Thank you for having me.
No
How do I
worries.
sound?
You
You
sound
sound
great.
Sound okay?
Fantastic.
Cool. This is like an ad for Apple AirPods right now. We have an event in the VFS Cafe, so I'm shooting this interview behind the stage while there's some kind of acting performance thing happening at the VFS Cafe, which is the Vancouver Film School in Vancouver.
Ooh, nice.
And it's an actual cafe, and I make Electric Playground as a live show in front of people
That's awesome,
that we
awesome.
stream.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the only way we have never made EP like that until this year,
Okay.
and it's a lot of fun.
That's so cool.
Nice. You can
That's
sneak
awesome.
back
Yeah.
behind there and give us a sneak peek of what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, back here it's a lot of junk. All of this stuff comes out of our office space and goes up on stage, and we whip it together to make it look a little bit prettier. But back here, this is where some of the work gets done. But I do a lot of work at home.
That looks like
'cause,
my room.
Yeah, I thought it looks
Yeah.
like a room.
Yeah, it looks like my room. All right, so I mean, I know we don't have too much time with you, but we appreciate any time you give us. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Yes.
My pleasure, you guys. One of you guys was in our show's chat the other day. We
That
were
was
talking
me.
about
That was me.
Oh.
Yeah.
well, thank you for reaching out. And I know that Tommy was on the show. I saw clips of that. It was like 2 hours because that man can talk.
3
Uh,
hours.
but I said-
3 hours
hours.
and plus.
Plus.
Yeah.
If I watch a 3-hour Tommy Tallarico interview, I don't get to review a game that week. So I watched a few clips of that.
Yeah.
But yes, he is a fantastic talker, and I'm proud of that guy, man. He's
He's a lot of fun.
he's crazy. He's just like, let's try something that's impossible and let's make it happen.
He can do it. He does it.
I
Does
love that
anybody
He
attitude.
who
does
do it?
Yeah.
That's true.
All right, so we're gonna jump into questions to
Sure.
start along this. I mean, I don't know if you have live viewers that want to ask anything, but if you do, be sure to leave it in comments if you like. But let's start with how long did you do Electric Playground on television? Because I've seen it in some form or another during like news broadcasts and like years after I thought it was gone. So I seen it as more like a tech show later. So how exactly was that going about? And was it like a name change? And how many shows was it actually?
Kind of. I mean, it's always been the Electric Playground, and so I think the EP is the heart and soul of anything that we've done, which it transformed into EP Daily, and then we had a bunch of other things cooking at the same time. So I said, just saying Electric Playground isn't enough. Let's call it EPN, and it's sort of wraps around all of the content that we were making, because we had the Vic's Basement podcast, and Reviews on the Run was its own show, and we were making some radio content, a little bit of everything, because once you have a TV show that goes from a weekly to a daily kind of nighttime thing, which is what happened with Electric Playground, it transforms into a much more piece of mainstream entertainment. We're in people's living rooms every day.
Yeah.
They're clicking around on their remote controls, and they would find EP, and we'd be talking about like everything fun, movies and video games and cool technology. But EP started in 1995,
Wow.
and went to the first E3. That was kind of like a mecca for me. But I wanted to make a TV show about the video game world, and I wanted to go behind the scenes, and I also wanted to have real, honest, objective review content within the show as well. And in '95, I started pitching it, and while we were pitching it, we launched the website at electplay.com. Now you can find it all at epn.tv, but we started posting web articles, and we went and shot demo material in 1995. We went and shot interviews at E3 with people like Ed Boon and John Tobias, the Mortal Kombat guys. David Perry talking about Earthworm Jim. We talked to Peter Molyneux. I don't even know what the hell about back then. We talked to the Trammell brothers who were working at Atari, and I met Tommy at the very first E3, and I interviewed him, and that footage is on the internet somewhere.
We saw it.
Yeah. Definitely check that out.
We saw it. Yeah.
You made sure you got his name right, I think, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Just like the rest of all of us game fans back then, the only sort of access point we had to this information was through magazines, and I had tons of magazines, and that was my pitch. I would walk into TV stations and I would say, okay, well, look, this industry is enormous. It's only going to get bigger, and it's all moving into 3D and CD-ROMs, and this content is going to look more and more like the animated movies that are making billions of dollars. And I think it's going to cross over, become really, really popular, and there should be television programming around it. And people started to pay attention to that. And so we launched as a weekly show in 1997 that we syndicated across Canada and down the west coast of the US. Did a couple of seasons like that, and then we ended up doing a deal with Discovery to be on their science channel in 2001, and that was a great run, and we were going to work with them on a bunch more stuff. But then the September 11th attacks happened, and everything changed in all sectors of business and the world and culture, including for our show. And so we had to kind of figure out what 2002 was going to be. But just as that was happening, G4 launched, and G4 needed content. And here we had already, 6 or 7 years under our belt making material. And I met Charles Hirschhorn, who founded G4 in Vancouver. He came to our studio, and he apologized. He said, I love what you're doing with Electric Playground. We're kind of trying to make a 24-hour network of Electric Playground.
Wow.
And I went, well, don't apologize. I can't make a network. That's amazing. We got to work together. And so we did, and we did after everything was kind of changing for us, because we had just done our biggest year ever working with Discovery, and we didn't know what was going to happen. The next phase was a 6-episode commitment from G4 to make a spin-off of Electric Playground, our Reviews on the Run spin-off, and it was called Judgment Day in the States as its own show.
I remember that.
Yeah, and so Tommy and I started with a 6-episode run and got some good notes and feedback from the network, but they liked the show and people liked our reviews together, and then that ended up we got another 7-episode run, and then we got 13, and we got 13. And while we were doing that, we were also delivering Electric Playground in Canada. And then in 2003, we brought EP to G4. And so we became really entrenched and embedded with the G4 folks. We became the longest running third-party partner that they had. So we were out of house and always been independent, but we've been able to partner with some really fantastic people. And then Rogers in Canada became a really big partner of ours, and they wanted more of our content. And so we eventually turned Electric Playground from a weekly show, which we were doing like 50 episodes a year. We turned that to 250 episodes a year.
Damn,
Wow.
easy.
That's
nothing.
And that worked, because we started to talk about content that wasn't just purely game centric, but also stuff that people would like the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the effects in the Curious Case of Benjamin Button, and electric cars. We'd go to the NASA Jet Propulsion Lab, and it was sciencey and tech related and cool entertainment and genre based, and it turned into a great half-hour show. And that was successful, and they said we want another half-hour daily show, and so we turned Reviews on the Run, which was already running as its own half-hour weekly, also into a daily show. And so we were making about between 500 and 600 episodes of television there for a little while.
Wow.
And then a bunch of documentaries, and but we kept rocking and rolling. We were making lots of EP content on television until the end of 2015, after G4 had faded away. And I knew when G4 had faded that things were going to get a little bit iffy for us, because media was shifting,
Right.
and advertising dollars were really shifting to digital, and the writing was on the wall, and we just had to keep kind of rolling with it. And in 2016, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't have another home for the show. With G4 gone and my long relationship with Rogers, it was like, there was a real sort of hesitation to get into this space for television. That everybody
took over G4.
Yeah.
Well, I had some pitches along that way for sure. And if I was the producer that I am now, I think that could have happened. And actually it just didn't time out. There was some possibilities with a lot of that stuff.
Did you ever consider like a Netflix style, like just venturing off into that from cable to
like working with Netflix or we talked to Netflix about stuff. Netflix, I actually had some pretty good conversations with them, and they were trying things like they ran the Daily Show for a while.
Okay.
And they were recognizing that people weren't really tuning in for that kind of information. People like to binge a lot on there.
Yes.
Now we're moving into streaming in a bunch of different ways as consumers. So the thing that I've realized is that if I continue to make Electric Playground, new conversations continuously happen. And that has been the case. It hasn't been, people are gun shy though to spend money because there's a real concern about how to do it. But I keep having good conversations, but in the meantime, I can't sit around on my ass and wait for people to kind of wake up and say, yeah, you knew how to do it for 20 years. Maybe you're a pretty good candidate to make a TV show for us.
Right.
I figured it out, with a group of amazing people. We figured out how to make something that was palatable and rate well. And, our audience was made up of 50% women, and families watched it together. All the quadrants, all the things that people would want out of video game television, we nailed. And we didn't do it because we knew exactly how to do it right out of the get-go. It took us a long time to learn, but we got there. And it's not going to be easy for anybody to do it. And so I'm patient with people trying to understand how to do this. I totally understand that a lot of up-and-coming executives want to kind of make a name for themselves and build all brand new content. And they look at established formats like Entertainment Tonight and Access Hollywood and Extra. All of those shows are still running, by the way. There's a reason for it. And they think, well, we don't want to do that. We want to come up with it. So I get all of that. I'm kind of just waiting for people to come around and realize that people just want to sit in front of a screen, whether it's TV or phone or the internet or whatever, and be entertained and informed for half an hour. And I know how to do that. So in the meantime, while I wait for people that want to partner with us around that stuff, and hopefully that happens. And if it doesn't, it's okay, because we've had the longest run out there. We just keep making content because it's a blast. And so in 2016, we just rolled on with some YouTube content. 2017, we started EP Live out of our old studio. Kept that up through 2018, and then in that year, we started to discuss the possibility of moving into this space at the Vancouver Film School. And so that's what we've been doing. We've done a little bit of documentary work, some commercial type spots as well, partnerships that way. But for the most part, we've just been rocking with the resources that we have on lots of Electric Playground content and getting fantastic interviews and I feel very lucky that I've been able to do this, and I love that I get to do this, and I don't want to squander the opportunity to continue doing it. So that's what I'm doing.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
You've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, man.
You were the first show that I've seen on TV that had to do anything with video games, believe me.
Yeah.
This is my 25th year of doing this, and I had no idea that I would be able to maintain a career for that long. We did 25 seasons of Electric Playground on television, which is pretty, because we had some years where we had more than one season a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're in kind of like our 29th season of Electric Playground right now, which
That's awesome.
which blows me away. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
That's
I
longer than Law
miss
and Order.
well,
Yeah, right.
the one thing that I definitely do miss is the incredible group of people that I was, had able to kind of pull together to build a team
Mm.
with, and it's hard. And it once, because I was an employer, right, and so I was able to pay a lot of people to have cool jobs, and so it's been really hard for me to like ask too many favors from my old group, because
Right.
I can't pay them. So because I don't have the budget, and it just feels weird to say, come on my show again this week. Come on, because everybody wants to see all those guys too.
Right.
But I try not to bug my great friends like Steve Tilley and Raju Mudar and Sean Hatton and Marissa Roberto and Tommy and Scott. Like if I had my druthers, I'd be working with those guys every single day. But it would be very cheesy for me to ask them to be on the show every day and not pay them.
Right.
Speaking of Tommy,
Actually, that was
Yeah.
I was going to go into the question that I was going to ask.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold
Oh, yeah,
on.
go
Hold on.
So
a second.
Tommy's in the
speaking of
comments.
Tommy,
Oh,
Television Amico has a couple of questions for you.
Oh, does he? All right, somebody's in the chat. Let's let that fire away.
Where's he streaming from? I'm streaming from the production office of the EP space at the Vancouver Film School. So it's not glamorous, but something else is happening in the VFS cafe, and I can't go on the stage of it.
He's got some other ones.
He has a couple more questions too.
Yes. Oh, yes, he does.
He would like to know if you still wear women's underwear.
Well, just the stuff that Tommy lent me, because that's in the
Oh, yes. Oh.
I think he's got one more.
And he has one more question for you.
Okay.
Well, more of a comment. He said that he likes
Yeah.
your chin shaven. It's way easier to sit on.
Yeah. Revealing too much as usual, Tommy. And I'm sure everybody that works for the Intellivision organization right now is so proud of their CEO.
Yeah.
Shots fired. Man down.
I love it.
Oh, that's
I love
awesome.
it. I love it.
Nothing is sacred after you shoot a review with a guy in a hot tub.
Nah, it's all.
Nothing is out of bounds.
No,
you
that
can,
was,
you can kind of go anywhere.
That's the magic of your show, man.
It says family entertainment. Who else has a question?
Al, you had a question.
Well, I was going to ask, since you brought up all your friends that you work with back in the G4 days, I was going to ask, do you still keep in touch with any of them? And you kind of answered that.
Yeah, I keep in touch with almost everybody,
Right.
and what has happened is it's like a little bit of a bomb has gone off in media, and it's not just in video games; it's in
Right.
media in general. It's like I was reading today about Ronan Farrow, who's got this big expose on Weinstein and Matt Lauer and NBC and everything. Like they squashed that guy at NBC; they would not let him do his story, and there was all this back. And so it doesn't matter what level you are in media right now. It's very tenuous, and you don't know if you're going to be working for long. And a lot of the teams across media have been broken up, and people have just been scattered to the wind, and they get gigs here and there. They get gigs here and there, and I mean it's part of this digital restructuring, I think, that all of our lives are dealing with right now. There's a lot of incredible, like, look at what we're doing right now. We're making a show using internet technology and the stuff that's around us, and we're getting into a pretty fun conversation here. And that stuff was not available to me as a TV producer when we started, unless I went into a very expensive satellite studio, and then somebody else on the other end was in a very expensive satellite studio. Now we carry around the technology with us in our pockets, and it's an HD, which is mind blowing. But it also has really kind of squashed a lot of opportunities for, building something that reaches a mass amount of people. It feels like everybody. We all carry the propensity to be broadcasters, and so I think we all are broadcasters, and it feels like we're a world of 6 billion TV stations now.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. So it's harder to
Well,
find
yeah,
now
we-
because everything
Yeah.
is scattered everywhere.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that also leads me to a question that I had.
Yep.
So I have one. Do you get more appreciation or gratitude reporting on gaming in a TV show format or on your internet show? And which is easier and which do you prefer?
Oh, that is an amazing question. I actually like the hybrid of it all. You know, I'm quite happy and proud of this EP live format. I wish we had kind of been able to work this out sooner. You know, it took us kind of having to transition away from TV to kind of figure out, well, what if we package a fairly tight hour with some broadcast prepackaged like reviews on the run type content or an interview or something, and then have a live component and go back and forth that way while we're interacting with people in real time. And then we added the extra bit of having a stage presence and people coming to the event like that too, or to the venue like that. It's really fun doing it that way. But what I will tell it, and this kind of is connected to what I was just talking about there. But what I miss about TV is that people would just discover us, and they wouldn't know me or Tommy or any of the other hosts. They wouldn't know who we were really. They were just watching people have a lot of fun talking about the most enjoyable things that human beings make and how they made them and why they made them. And I think we don't have that on TV anymore at all. I think that TV has really become, a reality TV kind of cesspool. And news, and I think news is cleaning up right now because the world is really messed up, and there's lots of things that people can report on that are freaking people out. And then there's a lot of escapism, and and even the entertainment shows that are there, they feel like commercials, like they're just advertising a product less than they are trying to figure out how this stuff is getting done, And then on YouTube, which I love, YouTube and the access to it and the incredible video content that's out there, most of it is a lot of soapboxing, and there's a lot of complaining, and some of it, and a lot of it justified for sure. There's a lot of things to in the video game industry and lots of other things for people to want to complain about. And I know people get addicted to, because they have their own complaints, so they get addicted to people complaining because it's just like, oh, all right, let it out, everybody, But I miss that we made this aspirational show about creativity, and we were visiting people on location, and we were so clearly working together and having a blast making the show. And when you watch old episodes, you can watch our first 5 seasons on our channel right now. When you watch those everybody's having fun. The video game companies that we were visiting, they didn't get visited by any other TV people really ever, and they were into the playfulness that we were bringing, and we had an incredible group of editors and effects people and visual effects. Tavis Dunn, that was our art director, just had this ability to like craft lightsabers or something like that in our interview, and we just had a lot of fun putting it all together. And then and I think people caught up on that, and that's what I miss. I miss that by accident people became fans, and they were shown that this material that we were talking about, which they may only have like a cursory knowledge of, was really worth their attention and was really enjoyable. And in some cases, and this was something that I never planned for, but I would hear from parents who would watch the show with their kids, and they would say, well, I want my kid to be making games based on your show, based on the interviews that you put together and the studio visits. And since we've been running for so long, I've had developers thank me that we talked about this stuff, because they hired people that were inspired by the old crazy, shove things down your pants antics that Tommy would do over visiting a game company.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Very inspirational.
Yeah.
Oh man. Do you have anything?
I got a question.
Go for it.
Can you talk about your favorite and least favorite part of working at G4?
Well, I didn't work at G4. My studio and my company has been based in Vancouver since the very beginning. But I was down there an awful lot, and I was always concerned that G4 was set up in LA. I always thought that that was a potential problem for the network, because they had to kind of keep up with the Joneses down there. And even if they were still an up and coming network, they had to pay the same as some real established networks. So if they hired camera operators and sound people, and that's the way the game is played in Los Angeles for sure. And I don't mean to like shortchange anybody, and people deserve what they get paid. But if you're a network that's trying to get off the ground, and you got to kind of, it's not just the staff, it's like the way that you carry yourself has to kind of fit there's a bit of a high school mentality in Hollywood where people are always kind of, bragging and self-promoting and stuff. And it can be a bit exhausting. And I felt like it didn't help the network that was still trying to figure out its identity, that they also had to kind of be as cool as MTV, I think what we saw was, after G4 was fading, was this real growth of authenticity through Twitch and through YouTube, of people just expressing their honest love and their real knowledge and their real passion for the medium. And I think that a lot of people that love this stuff as much as all of us do gravitated towards that. And there was an opportunity for G4 to tap into that, but I think that they were caught up in the TV game and the TV business of being in Hollywood. And I honestly, there were a lot of great benefits there. A lot of the celebrity stuff drew a lot of eyeballs to the network. They made some poor choices in that direction too, but they also did have some good choices. And one of my profound memories of working with G4, they were always great with me, by the way. They really respected EP. They respected the hell out of what we were doing with Judgment Day. They gave us, pretty much full autonomy. They would give us some feedback and notes every once in a while, but they were very happy. And we worked with them a lot. I did specials with them, but they asked me to be one of the hosts of the first G4. Jamie Kennedy was the top line guy. Yes. And I hosted bits with Diane Mizota, and met Public Enemy and Flock of Seagulls. We gave an award away to Elijah Wood and Dominic Monaghan. They were in the Lord of the Rings game, and of course did the movies and stuff together. And so we were hanging with all these incredible people. And that was like, I was walking down, I guess, Hollywood Boulevard, passing these famous establishments and these palm trees and the stars on the walk. And I had my script for G4 in my back pocket. And I'm like, how did my love of video games get me to this? Holy shit,
that's awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it certainly exploded since way back in the 90s.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and my experience with G4 was really positive, and there were lots of great people and lots of passion and lots of desire to build great things. And it's I've seen some real well put together kind of exposés and discussions about why G4 failed and stuff on YouTube.
Me too.
and they're interesting, but I don't think they hit all of I don't think they hit all of the reasons. I mean, a big part of why G4 and why any production goes away is that it just ends up costing too much. It costs more money than you can make back in advertising or in subscribers. And being Canadian and having to deal with Canadian budgets, we found some really clever ways to stretch a dollar with our productions. And I think that was part of our longevity. And it also was what was needed, honestly, and still needed when you're thinking about creating information content that looks really good around this space. I think you can easily spend way too much. Actually, I'll give you another great example. AMC has tried to go into this space a few times. They had that show that Greg Grunberg and Kevin Smith were hosting, and Greg Grunberg interviewed me at one of the E3s because I'd been to every E3 and I had some comments about stuff because they were shooting stuff about E3. But I noticed that they had like 3 camera operators and a couple sound guys and somebody that was live logging every interview question, and makeup people, and it was just like a team, you know, around. Yeah, and you know, there is an expectation when you get to these massive networks that you're going to spend like that, but you can quickly overspend the audience, you know. And I'm sure that Kevin Smith and Greg Grunberg would prefer that show was still running and they were still making it. And they probably could have if they spent less on that show. I can't even remember what it was called. It didn't last that long.
They somehow keep comic book men going.
I don't even want to talk about that one, man.
I don't like that show.
Actually,
we have a question from one of our viewers. Comes from Turbo857, the guy that would normally be sitting in this chair.
Yeah, Turbo857.
Hey, Turbo.
He wants to know, are there any next gen consoles or services that you are particularly excited about?
I'm stoked for all of it, man. I'm an obsessive with this technology. I do feel, I was thinking about that today because this has been a weird year, man. This, you know, based on the success of the NES Mini and the Super Nintendo Mini and now the Genesis Mini, like 16-bit is alive and well right now. Yeah. You know, the fact that the Switch with Switch Online, you got all those SNES games on there.
Indies,
you know,
looking like 16,
and the indies and everything. Yeah, like I feel like we live in this era without having to spend too much, where it already feels like we have the Netflix of gaming. You know, like all around us is like the whole history of games, and it's at our fingertips in a more profound way than at any other time that I can think of in games.
Except for Saturn.
Yeah. Well. But you know what I mean? Yeah, there's no Saturn stuff, and there's a lot of gaping holes for sure. But it feels like we're getting closer and closer and closer to
one console.
Ready Player One.
Yeah.
You know, where in that corner they have adventure and it's a part of the plot, but it's also a part of people's lives and they can play it. And I feel like we're edging closer and closer to that. And this idea of walled gardens for this material, or the $80, in the States it's $60 price point for this content, is starting to feel archaic. It's starting to feel like that's from a time gone, you know. And one of the things that's definitely pushing us in that direction, it's definitely a part of it, is the you know, the curtain's been raised on the mystery of how games get made. Our show was an ingredient on that. G4 was an ingredient on that. Jeff Keighley's work has been that, and certainly developers using Twitch and YouTube to kind of explain their process. And now they're not magicians behind the curtain like the Wizard of Oz, and these games come out and they're all magic. Now we know kind of what, and every day that goes by, we know a little bit more of them about them. So it's just like the movie industry and all. Plus the digital services that allow more people to access this content is going to start to drive pricing and down and availability up. And I'm all for that, you know.
Okay.
You know, I'm a collector and I have a huge collection, and I totally get the obsessive nature of collectors and wanting to have all of that stuff. And it's not about saving the space too much. It is a little bit, but it's more about getting more people to play so that more people make better games. And there's more ways in, more you know, inclusive and risky ideas, but ultimately games that I don't know, push us along, and I push the medium along and really kind of redefine what this industry is all about, you know. And I think we have those every generation, but they reach kind of a set audience every generation. And I feel like more and more people should be allowed in. I say this all the time about the Spider-Man game that Insomniac has made.
Yes.
It was our game of the year last year. I don't know how you guys felt.
Massive.
Yeah.
I agree.
It was that and God of
10.
War definitely up
10
there.
out of 10.
Yeah.
Both of
Both
those
so
games, two of the best games
so
I've played.
so incredible. But Spider-Man, because of its family-friendly quality and the popularity of the character already, I think if you did a poll around the world and you asked almost every person on Earth who this character is, where is my Spider-Man? If you ask people who this character is, most people would know, right? And
South
the
Park.
fact that it,
South Park.
yes, it's the South Park Spider-Man, of course. But because Insomniac made a perfect Spider-Man experience, I think most people around the world, if they played that game, they'd go, "Wow, video games! I'm definitely playing more video games."
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But not everybody could, because there was a finite amount of PlayStation 4s sold out there, and you had to have that machine, or you had to know somebody that had that machine in order for you to, weave your way to finally be able to play that game. And I'm looking forward to a world where I'm excited about the PS5. I'm excited about Scarlet. I can't wait to see a Switch Pro. But I'm looking forward to a day when a lot of that stuff doesn't really matter. And then developers don't really have to think about, bringing out different SKUs and making something better for this machine as opposed to that machine.
Right.
So speaking
I
of
know that
You kind of
that
answered.
competition has been good, though.
You kind of answered Styx's question.
well, I got one for you.
Yeah.
So, what's your take on? So that said, future. What's your take on Stadia, and what do you think of cloud gaming?
I think it's an inevitable future. I do. I think Stadia is going to be really bumpy. I think that they're going to have a lot of problems, and our skepticism is warranted. But I don't think that Google is entering into this world lightly. I think that they see the long-term sort of benefits of having those subscriptions, and I think this content is, you guys know, and everybody that's watching this knows, and everybody that loves video games knows that they're the best thing that humans have made. You know, like they trump movies or TV or because they collect all of what we know in every other art form. Yeah. And then we are artists in these worlds that are created for us. So it's like, and everybody knows that that's in, but the club of people that are in needs to get bigger. And so it's only going to happen through services like Stadia or Xbox Game Pass or what? No, XCloud, Apple Arcade.
Not too many. There's gonna be too many. That's the problem right now.
So you'll get into your Nintendo
Pandora's
service.
box was opened with the success of Netflix. Now everybody wants a piece of that.
Yeah,
everybody's gunning for Netflix. Everybody is like,
seriously.
Netflix was gonna be a blockbuster competitor, and then they became one of the biggest purveyors of entertainment out there, and now everybody worth billions and billions. So everybody's like, okay, I want some of that. Every level.
I just read an article about Disney releasing their streaming service, and it was about, what was it? It was the price on it, $5, like competing with
Apple.
Netflix.
Well, Apple and Disney about like $5 or $6.
Yeah,
but
that's crazy.
I don't know how that's gonna work out.
Right?
No, but didn't they have the triple play deal with like Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN for like $13?
Jesus.
Wow.
Cancel my cable.
Wow.
It's gonna be like that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like
I mean, you guys are all getting Disney Plus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Mandalorian. Boop! Sign me up. Yeah, I want me some of that. I want Winter Soldier and Falcon. Yes, please.
That Moon Knight series too.
That definitely.
And Moon Knight. Are you kidding? Yeah, they're playing a very smart game there. And honestly, like let's say Disney buys Electronic Arts, or something like that. This is just beginning. This idea of and Netflix is going to get into games. They had Bandersnatch, but they also had Tales from the Borderlands, right? So they're going to become a streaming purveyor of video game content as well. Like this is coming. It's not going to be instantaneous, and it's not going to come without lots of issues. And I think we have one more console generation that we kind of can identify as a traditional thing, but pretty soon your connection to this interactive entertainment is going to be very portable, and you'll be able to take that material everywhere. I mean, the success of the Switch kind of shows that people want that too. You know, they want to be able to play the same game on their TV as they play when they're traveling around. And I don't think Nintendo's ever going back on that. I don't think we're going to suddenly get a brand new 3DS or a brand new Game Boy unless it's Switch related, right? So, yeah, I think all signs point to subscriptions to libraries that reach a lot more people. I mean, it'll be very interesting to see how Apple Arcade does a year from now. You know, if that ends up becoming a very successful part of the Apple portfolio, and the developers are happy with it,
that price is definitely right.
Yeah,
they'll have changed the world again. You know, I don't know if it's going to work, or Google's got the Play Pass as well. I don't know how they're doing yet. It's still early days, but
cloud game is going to come down to whether the internet is good or not. Right, basically. Right.
Yeah. Well, I think Google knows that, and I think that they've got their Google Fiber, and they've partnered with cities to speed up everything. I think that's their end game, right? They want to be partnered or threaded in with some huge corporations so that they make sure that all of us have super fast connections, and then we all have subscriptions to Google services, and we're being served Google ads.
Oh yeah!
Like
now.
All right. Actually, I have a question real quick. I asked the same question to Tommy, and that is, what is your favorite video game genre?
I love character-based action-adventure games. I like the camera back a little bit from my character, and I love, I guess because I've been a toy collector my whole life, and I just like that Avatar kind of vibe where I can see my little dude, or like I love the Arkham games. Clearly, I'm clearly a huge Batman fan, and I love Spider-Man. And I loved Uncharted. That kind of stuff just, I get obsessed. Like I'm playing, I'm going to do a little recap on Spyro, the trilogy that's on Switch. I'm going to shoot that tomorrow. And I played that today, and I just got instantly hooked on the damn thing again. I've played these games a million times. I'm like, boy, it's really hard to stop playing.
Oh, wow.
But I like these character-based games, and my favorite game of all time now is Zelda: Breath of the Wild. I could not believe how transportive that game was. I was not expecting it to be so freeing and wonderful, and such a complete departure from the previous Zelda games. It's so damn good.
No, it's a masterpiece. It's definitely a masterpiece. Turbo 857, who's usually here, he's a huge Zelda fan, and that's probably his favorite Zelda game. I'm not the craziest Zelda fan, and I played it, and I said, "Wow, this is some shit." This is really,
put it down, right?
It really is.
It's an amazing game.
I wish I felt the same.
I'm telling you, you gotta give it a shot, man. You gotta give it a shot. You be hating. Sticks hates too much on Zelda all the time. He really does.
It's a great game.
You know what? It's refreshing to have people that have a different take on all of this stuff. That's why I've loved working with Tommy and Scott Jones. Those guys are very different individuals than I am.
Yeah, we butt heads all the time. We butt heads all the time.
The weapons,
especially me.
The weapon system killed it for me. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
We should go down the list here real quick and just let everybody know, the audience know, what type of games we're used to playing.
Crap. I mean, my favorite video game all time is Shining Force 3 for the Sega Saturn. That's my favorite.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
That's my favorite game all time. Obviously, I love the Batman games. I love State of Decay 2.
You're a third-person guy.
Yeah, I'm a third-person shooter guy. I'm a strategy role-player guy. The Fire Emblems, Three Houses, I think that's amazing.
It really is.
Yeah, that's more of my kind of game.
You got some deep cuts, man. I like that. Throwing back to Saturn games. That's awesome.
They need a remake of Shining Force 3. I will make sure I keep complaining about it till it happens.
I hadn't played the Shining Force games at all until I played it on the Genesis Mini, and I was like, this is really damn good.
They're amazing.
It's like a precursor to a lot of the Fire Emblem stuff.
Yeah,
really cool stuff.
Absolutely.
What I don't know everybody's name. What's the
it's okay. My name is Alg857, and I am a puzzle game fan. I love Tetris is the #1 game for me. I love any Tetris game.
That's awesome.
I also like any game with a narrative.
Wait a second. You're not going to talk about you being a world record holder in Tetris right now? What's wrong with you?
Okay, well,
humble brag.
I might have gotten the world record in Tetris.
Like a Guinness Book of World Record. True.
Well, it was in the
Twin
what is
Galaxies.
it? The Twin Galaxies record.
Oh,
yeah.
dope.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
Wow. I made 2 submissions. The first one didn't count because I didn't have video on 3DS. It was on a 3DS. So I replayed it and I actually streamed it live, and which you can see on our channel. What was it? Puyo Puyo Tetris. Marathon mode. I did 3 hours and 20 something minutes. I forgot the exact time. But
that's like Tommy Talarico's interview.
Yeah. And I got over 9 million points. Yeah.
Amazing.
But puzzle games are my favorite. I love puzzle games and also action games, action adventure.
For me, it's more. I play a lot of retro stuff or a lot of indie stuff that plays like the retro stuff. So like Messenger, the Messenger right now I'm playing, and Celeste I'm playing.
Those are awesome.
Other than that, I mean, on the new generation, I play a lot of action adventure games like the Tomb Raiders and the Uncharted's and like the God of Wars and Spider-Man's. So third person is my type of thing too. I never really got into the first person stuff, and never at all. But sometimes if it's story based, I can get into it. But never like the Overwatches and stuff like that. I'll play those, and there's no reason for me to play because there's no story in it. So
did you play BioShock?
BioShock, I played. Yes. I got into it, but it was a little too weird for me. that particular game was a little too odd for me. But the water and everything in it was pretty dope. But I passed on it. I watched it. I saw people play it. So, but that's pretty much that.
What's going on? I'm Big Chaco. I think I might have the broadest spectrum of games to play because I'll play first-person shooters. I'll play fighters. I'll play puzzle games. I'll play action adventure games. The character-based third-person games, third-person shooters. I love it all. But like my favorite genre has to be fighters. I love fighting.
Yeah, you play a lot of those.
And you still can't get me in Street Fighter. Street Fighter 2.
That's awesome. So you each like different things, which is so cool.
Yeah, some similar, but definitely a lot different.
Well, our couch co-op stuff is where we all like the same thing, basically. Yeah. Couch co-op stuff we play all.
Oh, yeah.
Co-op games are definitely our wheelhouse.
Do you guys get into sports stuff at all? Or
I used to play a lot of it, but I just don't have no damn time to get into it.
Yeah, it's a commitment now.
I used to play In the Zone. In the Zone on PlayStation.
I don't think I've played.
I got to tell you, those are the hardest to. Those are the hardest to review, and I just did a run where I reviewed the 2 soccer games, and of course, I did a versus, like our old style versus, and FIFA, of course I got a lot of people angry that I liked FIFA more, but I'm like, I don't play soccer. There's way more stuff in FIFA than in PES, but PES is fantastic too. But everybody's so angry about the microtransactions and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's a game killer.
How do you feel about that?
It sucks, and honestly, I think that's one of the things that we'll transition away from as we go into subscription. I think it's going to be a democratizer in a way, like if everybody's got subscriptions, then there's not going to be a need to nickel and dime people because it's going to be based on the amount of time that people spend on these things. So I think the free games will still have microtransactions, and there's an acceptable kind of element there. But I think if you're paying full price or you're paying for a subscription, there should not be any microtransactions in that stuff.
Yeah,
that's a great point, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I actually saw I saw an article on the ESRB for NBA 2K20 and the simulated gambling, but it's rated E for everyone. And I was like, wait a minute.
It's very messy. I tweeted the other day that there are a lot of YouTubers, like their whole career is based on complaining about microtransactions in video. And I don't know why the video game industry wants to let that be, there's some pivots, anyways. I know that's a big topic, guys. I have to run.
That's okay.
Can I come back and do this again?
Anytime
you guys are awesome.
Anytime you're available, you are invited.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, can I ask you a real fast question?
Sure.
Really fast question. On Electric Playground, when you were with Tommy Tallarico and he said, "Good Deej," what was going through your head at that time? Because it's one of the funniest clips that we've been running that joke for like 10 plus years, and your reaction was so priceless. And I want to know what you were thinking when he said that during that.
Tommy has always been so freaking amazing to me because he's a fearless dude, like he is the guy that you see in front of the camera, and he throws himself at everything. And He legit shocked me every goddamn time I worked with him. And that's a very fun way to work, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes it was a little combative, and sometimes like our high heat baseball thing where he ran and called a cab and got in the cab and he had our fucking microphone on him still. And dude, because I wasn't going to give high heat a 0. I was like, okay, you can calm right now. But yeah.
It makes for great TV.
Yes,
that is perfect
yeah,
TV.
it does make for great TV, man.
It really did. And I love working with him, and every chance that I do, whether it's an interview or a podcast or we get together and shoot reviews. We were talking about doing more reviews, and then he goes and starts making a television console. Well, we can't review anything now because you're selling a machine. You can't review anybody's stuff.
Yeah, I should do an annual end of the year thing.
Yeah.
That would be pretty good.
I'm planning to have him actually in Vancouver to come up here with Intellivision Systems, and then I want to fill the cafe up, and
nice.
He can demo them live, and we can interview people as they're playing stuff.
Awesome.
I really want to do that on the show. I think
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be watching.
If you guys are ever in New York,
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, I love New York. I actually am going to be in New York. Looks like in the middle of December, so I'll reach out to you guys again.
Oh, get you on
Okay.
live.
That'd be cool. That would be
All right.
awesome. You guys are the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much, man.
Have a good one.
Take care.
Be good.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that concludes our show for today. What do you guys think of that interview, man?
that was awesome.
Man, him and Tommy are such cool dudes, man. They're just, you know.
They're really giving individuals.
No, they're awesome. They're really
because
awesome.
they didn't have to give us the time of day,
No.
Yeah.
and they did.
And they're passionate. They're passionate.
yeah.
You notice they could talk about video games forever.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
We could talk about.
We
We
could
could sit
talk
here for
about
3
it.
hours with him, but it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
Y'all ready? Y'all ready for that?
Yeah, like
No, they are. They're
you
ready.
know, like, but it would be awesome to get them in studio one day. Would be so awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
definitely appreciate it. Anytime they want to give.
Maybe get
This is
Vic
great.
drunk or something. You know.
Oh, yeah.
I know Tommy don't drink, but we get Vic drunk.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
Awesome, fun times though, man.
Yeah. Were there any other questions or anything
I had
like
a
that that we see?
I know.
I had
There's a ton of side conversations going on in the chat.
Oh yeah.
Which is great. Which is
Yeah,
great. It's good
but,
for the
that's
community.
That's awesome.
You guys, it's great to have y'all there.
There's gonna
Yeah,
be a part 2, guys.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a part 2.
Yeah, he's gonna come back.
Yep.
And
Looking
remember,
forward to it.
We do our podcast live every other Wednesday.
Every
so-
other Wednesday.
This is an
Right.
exception, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well-
we're gonna be back on track.
Yeah.
Well, we got the interviews. We had to do those.
And we
I
got
think.
sound this time.
Oh yeah.
And y'all can hear us.
And not for nothing, people keep showing up that want to get interviewed.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you're just
yeah.
not gonna get rid of
The
us.
G4
We'll do it.
fam.
Yeah.
Everyone from the G4 fam, you're more than welcome
Yes.
to come on to the show.
Hey, anyone in the
Yeah.
gaming industry. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter who. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter who.
Oh yeah.
Hell, I don't
welcome.
care if you're actually. They don't even have to be gaming industry. Wrestlers, we don't care.
Yo,
RVD,
shout out! Shout out to
RVD.
Up Down Down.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Up, Up, Down,
I still
Down.
want to fight you guys in Smash 4 and 4.
No, not fight them, smoke them.
Oh, my
Oh.
fault. I used the wrong word.
Yeah.
Oh.
The challenge
Crush
is
you.
out.
I forgot to ask
Crush
Vic
your
if he
dreams.
plays Smash Brothers.
We'll find
Oh.
out. We'll
So I
find
can
out.
smoke him too.
We'll find out next time. We'll
Much
find
love,
out.
much love, much love.
Well,
That's
so
fun.
I guess that's it. So that should conclude the show for today, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
sure.
that's
good.
good. Yeah.
Well, in that case, make sure that you listen to this podcast every other Wednesday on Radio Public.
Public!
Because we're available on all other social media and, well, not social media, streaming services, my bad. But Radio
Shame on
Public
you.
is the one that you want to listen to us to
That's right.
if you want to show the most support.
Mhm.
And also, most importantly, if you're watching us on YouTube or you just hit us up, just so happen to hit us up on all our social media,
Mhm.
make sure to subscribe or follow, because if we hit 500 subscribers
What
or
happens?
followers,
What happens? What happens?
you know what's going to happen?
Tell me what happens.
A lot of pain.
A lot of pain, a lot of
A lot of
suffering.
pain.
A lot of suffering. For sticks.
That's right. That's right.
You got burned to death on live.
We're going to do the hot sauce challenge, y'all.
You gonna suffer.
Sauce.
We're
I
doing
ain't
that
eating
hot
that.
sauce challenge, and we're
I
going to
ain't-
suffer for
I'm
your
not eating
enjoyment.
that. I'm not eating that.
Nah, so you can't lie to the viewers.
So if we hit that milestone, we're going to do that hot sauce, and you're going to see us suffer. But that's pretty much it, man.
Yeah.
Remember, it's level 857.
Until next time,
Next time, y'all.
We love you 3000.
we out.
We out like sauerkraut.
Thank you for watching, guys. We appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.